I'm Brownfield anchor reporter Meghan Grebner, and with us this afternoon is Mike Zwingman, Director of Agronomy for Row Crops with Verdesian, and Brady Eilers, Vice President of Global Marketing. We're talking today about new goals for NUE Ag. Let's start first and talk a little bit about plant health. Verdesian's goal really is to maximize the health of every plant. Mike, let's start with you. Talk to me a little bit about how this relates to sustainable agriculture as we talk about plant performance, water quality, and soil health.
Well, so when you think about all those things, I like to talk to a grower or a retailer about thinking about one plant and then kind of working your way out through the population, and how that optimization of one single plant in a field really helps us manage that environment and use all the resources in that environment that are available to the plant, whether it be nitrogen, water, phosphorus, carbon, all those things. There's always decisions we can make and triggers and levers we can pull to help that plant become more efficient and optimize its surroundings. So whether it's using a nitrogen stabilizer, a biostimulant, a biological, or even some other fertilizer enhancers, it's really about making sure that plant is in its optimum form. And then once you can master one plant, then it's about going to thousands of plants per acre, to millions of plants per field, and really managing the situation and giving the plant a good day every day. And when you do that, the first kind of way to get to master soil health and sustainability is really by optimizing that performance of the plant, right? And then if we're running that plant at peak performance, we're returning enough carbon to the environment, we're optimizing profitability for the grower, and we're optimizing the nutrients and water efficiently around it. And it's just a good day for everybody in the system when we do that.
Brady, when we talk about plant health, can we talk a little bit about how it relates to those three pillars of sustainability, thinking about environmental health and economic profitability along with social equity?
Awesome. Yeah. A couple of years ago, when people in agriculture were talking about sustainability, they were really just trying to push products that had a sustainability message, sometimes greenwashing, but never really focused on what really makes a farmer profitably sustainable. And that's having an operation that is economically sustainable and a field that is able to produce long term. And so there's technologies out in the marketplace now, and Verdesian offers a lot of them that makes it more of an or versus an either conversation. And so that's why we're excited about the nutrient use efficiency products. We really do feel it is that next frontier of plant health and yield that allows farmers to be thinking about their near-term seasonal profitability, but also how what they're applying is going to affect their operations long-term. We make products and we're promoting products that have positive effects on soil health year over year, and not just trying to strip the soil of that year to maximize yield for 1 year. And so we're really excited about kind of those three pillars interacting together and working on products that allow them to be those three pillars interacting every single year instead of just 1 year.
Mike, as you mentioned talking about maximizing the health of every plant to be more sustainable, when we look at it that way, what do you also hear back from growers in terms of sustainability and those efforts along with productivity?
It's hard to argue that the American farmer hasn't had a sustainable operation, because there's operations that are fourth, fifth, sixth generation operations out there that have gone through, a lot of eras of time and space. But the new frontier is like, how do we keep improving on that? And so the first question a grower asks when you talk about sustainability is like, what is this going to do to my bottom line? Right? Like, because that's the difference between an operation failing or succeeding, even as we switch through generations. And so when you take a product to a grower that has benefits to them as well in the environment, that's when we have a real win. Like, look at our nitrogen stabilizer lines. When we talk about impacts to the groundwater or greenhouse gases to nitrogen loss, that's great when we talk about it from an environmental standpoint. But remove all that and just talk to a grower about, what if I reduced your nitrogen loss by 10% or increased your nitrogen efficiency by 5 or 7%? That's a direct impact to their bottom line. So when you can do those things and you can, and have the answer is always in the and. I'm going to help improve your efficiency, your yield, your profitability, and we're going to protect the environment while we do that. That's where the answer to that grower in any of these plant health and soil health situations is, can we do both things? Can we advance the operation and create sustainability for families for generations and protect the environment and have this environmental sustainability of the operation as well? I think that's where a lot of our products fit. And that's where our passion as a company lies, is answering that question. That's the answer is always in the and.
How much has that changed? And I'll leave this up to either Mike or Brady from that grower mindset. I think for, we talk about just the transition and the focus in agriculture, but as we push to the sustainability, are farmers more excited or more open to the sustainability conversation, knowing that they don't have to necessarily lose productivity?
Yeah, I think they definitely are. If you rewind 7 or 8 years and talking to growers, there was definitely a different mindset out in the field. There were a lot of claims being made by companies and a lot of data that wasn't backing up those claims. And so growers know today that if they want to be getting the optimal yield from whether they're growing corn or soybeans or almonds, that they have to be figuring out what those next technologies are. And it's not really coming through seed or CP innovation. And so they're looking to other big category spends like fertility products to figure out how they're going to sustainably grow their operation. And so we found with growers across the country that they want to also get ahead of what they think is going to be impending regulation. If they can just start to show the work that they're already doing and show the impacts that they're having in sustainable agriculture, they're going to be able to ward off a lot of what potentially could be some harmful rules and regulations that come down the pipeline. So I think there's been this groundswell amongst growers and retailers to get ahead of regulatory constraints, but also to be looking for that next product or technology that's going to help them get out and boost their yields.
Mike, you brought up nitrogen stabilizers as how they relate to sustainability. Can you talk to me a little bit about some products in that line that Verdesian offers that helps growers to focus on protecting against nitrogen loss and protecting productivity and efficiency?
Yeah, so when we talk about nutrient use efficiency or nitrogen use efficiency, it really kind of has these three, I would say, pads that we have to hit, or three targets we have to hit. The first one is nutrient availability. The second one is nutrient uptake, and the third one is, just nutrient accessibility. So when we think about these things, we have to think about how we can help the plant use the nutrients that are there, how we make the nutrients we apply more available or protect them from loss, and then how do we help the soil, supply some more nutrients to the plant. So when we talk about nitrogen efficiency, the foundation of that is our nitrogen stabilizer family, which is led by Trident, right? And Trident protects against all three forms of loss: volatilization, nitrification, and denitrification. And because of that, we have this foundation of protecting the nitrogen we apply. But then when we layer in, some of our other technologies, like our takeoff technology to help with nitrogen assimilation and nitrogen uptake, or some of our biological options that are going to help with, that helping that root growth and helping that root mass access those nutrients, or help mineralize some of the nutrients from the soil, like we can really start to have this holistic view on nitrogen efficiency. But it all starts with the easiest thing we do and that's protecting the nitrogen we apply. Like I said, when we look at that, that the impacts of water quality and air quality between leaching of nitrates to the groundwater, which is a huge issue here in Nebraska, or nitrous oxide emissions, which is, if you look at everybody likes to put this satellite image of carbon capture in July in the Corn Belt, and there's this big hot number. But when you look at nitrous oxide emission and the same footprint, and it's nothing that the farmers are doing wrong, it's just the fact that we're in production agriculture and it happens. We need to reduce that number, and products like Trident are going to help us get there. And then products like Takeoff and other products are going to help us get there as well. But we really need to manage that loss for the benefit of the grower. And like I said, if we have that, then there's a benefit to the environment. And so it's really that foundational approach of protecting that nitrogen and then layering other things in to support it.
Brady, anything else?
Yeah, I would just say, there's been a lot of attention given to carbon, especially over the past couple of years. There's lots of marketplaces that are coming up and lots of people trying to monetize that. And we do think that's a big opportunity for growers to continue to take steps towards sustainability. But as Mike alluded to, there's also kind of another gas that's not talked about quite as frequently, and that's nitrous oxide. It's both a challenge and a really big opportunity in agriculture, and one that we are actively going after. And so for those that aren't as familiar about it, and I wasn't myself, 12 to 14 months ago, nitrous oxide, though it's a lot less of the total emissions that happen across the United States, agriculture is responsible for about 70% of those. And so when you think about that, like I said, there's a huge responsibility for us to be able to go and fix that as an industry, because for every unit of nitrous oxide that's emitted, it's 300 times more potent than 1 unit of carbon dioxide. And so we have products currently in the market that can help with that nitrous oxide reduction, while at the same time not creating economics for the grower that makes them not sustainably profitable. And so that's what we're really excited about. We're not making big vague promises about what's going to happen in 2050. We're making promises today about how we're going to go out and help farmers reduce nitrous oxide that gets emitted to the atmosphere, but also continue to grow the types of crops that they need to make sure that their operations are sustainable.
Really kind of making investments for today for the future, right?
Exactly. Yeah. And like we've mentioned a couple times in this, it doesn't have to be an either or. And it doesn't have to be a hindrance on what they're doing. It doesn't take 8 years of commitments and reams of data to be able to go out and have an impact on nitrous oxide reduction. We've seen that a lot of our retailers and our growers have been challenged by carbon programs just because they're very complex. We're asking our retailers and our growers to simply add a step, or simply kind of sign up for stuff that they're already doing and getting credit for the work that they're doing. And Mike has explained this, and I think other people in the industry have done a good job of explaining that growers and retailers are already doing a lot of these steps that are sustainable. We just need to do a much better job getting credit for the work that's already being done. And so that's what we're trying to help growers and retailers do, is to take that next step forward and to also just get credit for the work that they're already doing, because they're doing a lot of great work.
We talked about nitrogen. Let's switch gears and talk about the micronutrient phosphorus. Are farmers doing enough to protect their phosphorus investment? Let's start there.
Phosphorus is a tricky thing, because I think we don't have a complete understanding of what goes on with phosphorus when we apply it. What we do know is only about 25% of the phosphorus that we apply is available to the crop in that cropping season. So we have this system built around kind of building those phosphorus levels and working those up, but we need to increase that availability in that first year. And so like we use products like Avail to help with that. We also have some new novel technologies coming down the pipeline that are going to help us unlock some phosphorus in the soil to improve that phosphorus efficiency. When we look at phosphorus as a nutrient, as a primary nutrient, much like nitrogen, it is really kind of critical to the plant. And so when we run short on phosphorus, we really run short on energy, because it's the key component of the energy that's currency that's within the plant. I don't think that I shouldn't say I don't know if we're doing and not doing enough. I think our knowledge of phosphorus is growing at such an exponential rate that we have a lot of ground to catch up to be where we're at with nitrogen. And so I think these technologies that we're bringing to the forefront are going to help us get there, but it's just a different nutrient and a different mindset than nitrogen is.
Is it also more about figuring out or making sure farmers are focusing on making it available to the plants and not necessarily just adding more to the soil?
The answer once again is in the end, right? Like we have to meet crop needs, but we have to make sure that application we're making, we're getting the most out of in the season that we're making it. So it's, and the other thing is, as we advance with soil sampling technology and all these other, our ability to apply, our ability to manage that to the level we need to has gotten better and better over time. So I think there's situations where we can apply less phosphorus and we need to make the phosphorus that's in the soil more available. There's situations where we have to apply more phosphorus, but we have to make the phosphorus we apply more available. But there's no one solution for every phosphorus situation in the United States, much like nitrogen or anything else. So we don't have a one size fits all solution to crop nutrition.
Every operation's different. I'm assuming growers need to just soil test and work with the folks that can help them put a plan in place.
Yeah. So we as a company believe in the most important relationship in crop nutrition is between you and your local advisor. Our job at Verdesian is to give those local advisors the best technologies that we can to help improve nutrient use efficiency. And instead of me coming in making blanket statements of what I think you should do, what we want to do with our products is give you the tools to take your operation to where you want it to go. And so my suggestion is to work with an agronomist that's as curious about improving nitrogen or nutrient use efficiency as you are, and then start implementing new technologies and see what works on your farm, see what works best, see what combinations of technologies work best. And we're here to support that effort through some of our trial programs and some of our other things and some of the tools we have to offer. But we want you to take your operational goals are different than the one down the road or the next state over or wherever else. So we want to support that local knowledge and that local experience and help improve on a local basis. And it's really this mindset of thinking globally and acting locally, because we can help impact the environment faster that way than kind of forcing an opinion on the whole world.
Gentlemen, as we wind down our time today, Brady, you want to talk a little bit about how else Verdesian is helping growers be smarter and more sustainable in their practices?
Yeah, this is a category that to a lot of growers is newer. As I mentioned earlier, they've done their research on seed, they've done their research on CP, and they've used a lot of those same products for years and years. And so as they're trying to turn to some of these emerging categories like biostimulants, or even for some of them, these enhancer products, we're trying to teach them about the agronomic need before we teach them about our brand specifically. And we want them to understand the science behind these so that it's not a category that's viewed as snake oil or less efficacious. And so what we've done as an organization is really focused on a platform called NUE University. And what that is a platform that has north of 55 courses that teaches growers and retailers about these different categories and about these different technologies so that they can ask the right questions and so they can feel good about sitting down across the table from an agronomist and knowing the right questions to ask instead of just being sold a certain product. And so we're investing pretty heavily in that platform as a tool for our growers and retailers. The other is we're starting to do some paid sponsorships and partnerships with people like ACAM and Trust in Food, and kind of putting our money where our mouth is to make sure that we're part of the collaborations that are essential to moving this forward. And so we're excited about that. We're excited about some of the pilots that we're starting to engage with TrueTerra via Winfield. And we're really just starting to try and create an ecosystem of people that are actually taking action instead of talking kind of about the agricultural buzzwords that are headlines. We want to make sure that we're getting out and taking activity and not just saying the things that we want to do and the products that we want to launch. We have the products now, we have the partnerships now, and so now it's about time getting out there and making it happen.
If folks want to find out more information about NUE University, where do they go?
Yeah, the best spot is to just go to our website, so vlsci.com. You'll find a lot of great resources on there on NUE University. We've got a podcast on there that walks through some of the NUE metrics as well. And then a lot of blog posts that are either done by our staff or third parties that are experts in the field that'll walk them through either in-season challenges, fertility challenges, or really any of the questions that they may have in this space. Because I've mentioned before, there's a lot of questions and there's a lot of good answers online and there's a lot of answers that aren't so good. And so we want to become the hub kind of for truth within the NUE segment.
Mike, Brady, any final thoughts?
Just thank you for your time today, Megan.
Yeah, my only final thought would be like, this is what we do all day, every day. We wake up, we think about NUE and the products we're going to develop in that space. And so we're not waking up thinking about how we're going to make new seeds or crop protection products. The only thing we do every day is wake up and think about how we can enhance this segment in nutrient use efficiency. So Mike got his team of 30 plus across the United States that are working on developing new products. I've got my team that's working to make sure that we're getting out the message about these products and describing them in the appropriate way. And so we're really excited about the future at Verdesian, and also kind of this whole nutrient use efficiency segment that we strongly believe will continue to grow and help farmers in the future. So,
once again, for more information, go to vlsci.com. You've been watching NUE Goals for NUE Ag. I'm Meghan Grebner on Brownfield.